I asked the man, where were you born? Where did you go to school? Who was your principal at school? How many subjects you got? Six?
He must say no member him subject them. I mean, I said, no, this is insane.
A lot of people been saying that Alkaline can't come back in a dance hall. But when they done, Alkaline never gone nowhere. Eh? And one reason why you don't rate Alkaline, is because Alkaline never say what you did one thing for say. Everybody else say it.
All I really want is to be on top. Yeah, most definitely. And I like when people are talking about me still.
What with?
To catch the attention and then they just wheel them into the good music.
And you never thought at any point that you might have miscalculated?
Miscalculated? No, man, I want you to say, man. I've been studying this business from ever since I was, from the devil was a boy.
Me?
Yeah, man, you're a trend, man.
And me a trend.
Well, you said you a trend. Alkaline a trend, or you a trend?
Alkaline a trend.
Well,
Viewers and subscribers, welcome back to another episode of Vibes and Inside with Nando. You know it's your boss, Nando and I building, with another episode and another vlog for you, the viewers and the subscribers. So we see where Alkaline is back into the media again with a lot more criticism, a lot more scrutiny, right? Cliff Hughes came out, said that the interview that he and Alkaline sat down to do was painful. Now, Cliff Hughes had a lot to say in one of his previous show with his co-host. I'm not sure what's her name, but he had a lot to say about the whole interview, as to say that he never expected that was what's going to happen with him and Alkaline. Now, me have some part of the interviews I want to play and want to speak on it for you, the viewers. And, share a different perspective, shed a different light to it, because what I get to understand is Alkaline is one of that artists where always are going to get scrutiny, always are going to get criticized. But some people prevail, some people triumph in scrutiny and criticism. Now, Alkaline, we've seen over the years where he's that type of person where always a triumph through scrutiny and criticism and all fight and all sort of stuff. So this shouldn't be anything different from everything that happened in Alkaline's life. Now, Cliff Hughes came out, shed some light on the interview, painted it as bad for Alkaline on Alkaline's side, saying that Alkaline, the way how he spoke was like he's saying that Alkaline was at fault for the whole interview. Now, let me jump and go by saying that after watching that interview and after listening to know what Cliff Hughes was saying, it proves to me that Cliff Hughes didn't do any much of a research or, he never do any background check on the artist for knowing about the artist, because there are some parts of the interview where Cliff Hughes messed up by asking Alkaline, by saying that Alkaline did a collab with Fetty Wap, by also not knowing one of Alkaline's song, Move Mountain or 1, 2, 3, because Cliff Hughes asked some question in an interview, or the question they were asking in an interview was so poor that himself got a poor response from the interviewee, which is Alkaline. Now, me have a clippings, me have to play some of him talking, and then we can talk over it and enjoy it and shed some light or paint our own perspective as what he was saying. So let's just jump right into it. All I want to do, make sure you like, subscribe, and share, and hit that post notification bell, so whenever I drop a new content, you guys can be the first to be notified. So let's just jump right into it.
Alkaline a trend, or you a trend?
Alkaline a trend.
Well, your anticipated interview with Alkaline happened on Wednesday of last week.
Yes.
And it's just been the talk of the town since.
Yes.
The weekend has been insane with a lot of events, including Alkaline's new rules in Trelawney. So quite a bit to talk about. But we just want to get in your head. We want to talk to you about your experience interviewing
All right.
Alkaline. And funny enough, Cliff.
Yes.
I remember people you would ask me in the past, who was your favorite interview? Who did you read? And I always say Alkaline. Like back in the day when he had just when he had the lens in, the black lens in his eyes, when he just a come up and you know what I mean, and he was doing media them time there.
Yes.
He was witty and engaging and fun, and he had an answer for every question. There was nothing you could throw at him and he wouldn't be back at you.
Really?
I am telling you.
How long ago was that?
This was when I was at Sun City. How many years ago was that? 9 years ago, 10 years ago, thereabout.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now,
He
them
was
said
on
the
the
interview
ball.
was
Well,
very
he was the
baffling.
direct
And
opposite
to
of
me,
that
it
last
was
time.
just
Direct
very baffling
opposite,
also. But
and it's just
here
baffling.
we are.
It's still baffling to
The
me.
artists,
What about you?
Alkaline
Very
and
baffling.
Cliff Hughes, they sat down and did an interview. Some of the questions them what Cliff Hughes asked the artists was question that deserves 1 and 2 answers, not no whole heap of answer, but because as you heard the lady say, the interviews them what Alkaline doing in the past was very engaging. And now because the interview with Cliff Hughes wasn't that engaging like how people was expecting it to be, because people went into the interview with expectations. They went into the live stream with expectation, expecting Alkaline would engage or interject upon expound on some of the questions them, but he never did that. He answered them with some small 1 and 2 words. Yeah, no, mad thing, stuff like that. Now, Cliff Hughes, remember, Cliff Hughes a whole time, he's a old school interviewer, so maybe Cliff Hughes don't really understand the modern type of reasoning where Alkaline dip on an interview, or maybe Alkaline never really want to say much in the interview or expound on certain things, because watch this. A lot of people wants to know about Alkaline's private life, and Alkaline is a person who is sacred about his private life. Him not really expose or say certain things about him life. So Cliff Hughes went to the interview, asked some questions, some basic questions, I would say, because some of the questions that Cliff Hughes asked never needed to be asked. Him ask him about politics, him ask him about time come or something another about choose Jamaica. And those are some of the questions I said to myself, say, yo, Cliff Hughes never had to ask him that, you know. Cliff Hughes asked him about Donald Trump, Anthony Miller, Mark Golding, stuff like that. And I'm like, bro, this is an entertainer. You can't really ask him them questions there. Ask him about the music scene. Ask him about his career. Ask him about his next move, his next milestone, stuff like that. Ask him about his achievements. Cliff Hughes asked him about when born, who him live with him, mother and father, this and that. Him bring up the clash. And I'm like, bro, this is not something where you can ask. It's not something this way you really need for ask. The questions them where the public need answers to. Him not ask them. Some things, and like him say, him never get no question by the management team for ask. He did his own little research and ask for him question, which proves to me again why me I go say Cliff Hughes never did his research. I think somebody else in Cliff Hughes' team did that research and gave them questions for ask, because Cliff Hughes clearly don't know nothing about Alkaline. And as him said earlier before the interview start, Move Mountain was his favorite song. But Move Mountain can't be a favorite song if you don't know nothing about the artist. Well, me not gonna say enough people know artists, not know artists, and them know a song from an artist. But Cliff Hughes, as a journalist, going an interview with some basic question, because the whole public was saying that Cliff Hughes not asked the right question them. Cliff Hughes wasn't the right man for the job. A lot of people were saying that. But you wanna know why Cliff Hughes came out to say what he said in this recent live or in this recent podcast? Was because of the controversial part of the interview when he brought up the Vybz Kartel name. And Alkaline said, wasn't he locked up? And Cliff Hughes said, yes. Now Cliff Hughes came and said that he thought Alkaline said, was he locked up? And not, is he locked up? Which shows me that Cliff Hughes himself never did tune into the interview. As the interviewer, it not sound like him did tune in, because him sit down less than 2 feet apart from the artist and didn't hear when the artist said, isn't he locked up? And Cliff Hughes are saying him thought him here was. It was Cliff Hughes intimidated or nervous in the whole interview? I don't understand.
Because they reached out to us,
Mm-hmm.
his management team, asking us to consider doing that interview with him, right? And they specifically asked me to consider
Yes.
doing it.
Yes.
And
Did they say why? Did you ask why?
because
So now
as I
they're having a
understand it, he
conversation with
wanted
them,
to
sit
deal
down and
with
talk,
a
and it would
number of
seem
issues,
like them are trying to
in a
humiliate the artist
serious
over
way.
Can you
live
just come on and deal with
here.
nothing?
But watch this,
That's why
viewers
it's
and
baffling.
subscribers. You see the engaging person where them a lot of people was looking for, they didn't get that. The mysteriousness and the mystery about Alkaline. A lot of people wanted to delve into that to find out more about the artist, but because they didn't get that or what they had expected, they didn't get or accomplish, they had a problem with it. Them a say, yo, the interview was painful because the artist never really engage or the artist never really say much. Most time words them are 2 or 3 words when I fling at the interviewer. But watch this, viewers and subscribers. When you look back on Alkaline's interviews, them like recently we see where ER puts out a documentary of most of Alkaline's interview. I don't know if they were trying to prove a point to say that Cliff Hughes interview was more than just poor, or it could be just that them a try ride a wave because you know the whole wave with Alkaline and this interview has been going on for like a week now. So I don't know, maybe that's why ER puts out a film interview where them did have with Alkaline from at all the time. But the interview with Cliff Hughes was so poor, mostly too because of some of the questions them would ask. And yeah, Alkaline wouldn't get some of the blame also, but people have to understand that Alkaline is an introverted type of person. So some things where you gotta expect from the artist, you may not get it. Some expressive way and how him expect him to articulate himself. You may not get it because who knows whatever go on in the DJ head or the artist head. But as I said, viewers and subscribers, the artist introverted. And then again, if you're an introvert and you're going to do an interview, it's all difficult because the expression where people expect the normal expression, you're not going to get that. So Cliff Hughes was looking forward to that. And one thing I get to also is that Cliff Hughes never did many research about the artist because even in this whole snippet or this whole clippings with him and this co-host, some stuff that she's saying, Cliff Hughes don't have a clue or an idea of it, which proves to me that him really never do a rundown on the artist to find out certain stuff. I guess he went into the interview with a blank mindset or just some random questions out of blues, the average questions where you ask somebody where, you know, you're just a meet or whatever. But remember, Alkaline has been in the game for 10 years, so some of the questions that Cliff Hughes has asked him, Alkaline answered them in a lot of interviews when he just came out into the music business. So to see Cliff Hughes asking him some questions when he been past, it may seem it wouldn't seem nonsensical for really ask over the same questions them where the artist been past already from him career when him just jump out in the music business. So you would think in yourself, maybe the interviewer is going to ask some questions where recent about certain things in the artist's career. Some questions where the public really want to know about his management, his production team, all of them stuff there. You know, so because the interviewer never really asked some of them questions, then we don't understand why the DJ probably get rubbed wrong. And at the same time, him even bring up the conversation of asking him about another artist, which is Vybz Kartel. Even though, you know, people wanted to know about that question. That is one of the questions where we can say, get through the gate. But as I said, that was one of the questions also where create a big highlight over the media. Because, as I said, most of them people want a little highlight or want a little moment out of most of them interviews. So that's why the artist really get in that position there where him did have to answer the question. And I doubt he wanted to answer the question or he doubt he thought that question would come up. But at the same time in an interview, the interviewer asked Alkaline if there is any question that you wouldn't want me to ask you. And Alkaline stated, yeah, you can ask me anything. So the fact that Cliff Hughes went into the interview with some poor questions proves to me that him never really do a research about the artist. Him literally never do no research. So that is why the interview went south, and me can't understand how them can come out now and speak on this whole issue. And one of the things why when we realize why them come out and attack now are because the fact that when Cliff Hughes says was thought that Alkaline says wasn't he locked up, when Alkaline clearly stated isn't he locked up.
The first sign of trouble began when he arrived late for the interview. Well, very late for the interview. And then in trying to, I don't know this man, eh?
Yes.
You know me, don't know nothing about
Exactly.
music. I tried to find out a little bit about him before the interview started. Of course, I'd done the readings and whatever. And I noticed he was almost aloof. Yes. He wasn't communicative.
Yeah, it wasn't engaging. It was just sort of just there.
No,
I
Alkaline
feel
have a
that-
song we say.
Maybe when
him
the
feel
camera
like
come
him
on,
too
like,
real
one.
for that every word
Wake up
because
and,
watch
you
these
know?
viewers
Because
and
some people were
subscribers.
like that. They're not
Remember,
really
you know,
interested in
majority of
banter before, they
Alkaline's
just wanna get to
interview
the
was
banter.
very engaging. Him articulate himself very well. Now, I feel like from my observation, it just looks like Alkaline just give the whole media a quick 180 and shift the narrative upon saying, oh, he articulate himself or he's sounding like a next man or Vibes Cartel. Because remember, when Alkaline just came out in our business, you know, them been a comparing him, you know, I said him talk like Vibes Cartel, him articulate himself like Vibes Cartel, him give off this boisterous energy like Vibes Cartel. So what do you think the artist do? As I said, from my observation, it just looks like the artist change his own ways, like change from an extrovert to an introvert. And you remember over the years Alkaline been a get bashed for every little thing. So one would understand when somebody change and decides, say, yo, the world changed me, because watch this, the world can make you colder or whatever it may be. So the world and the media and Jamaican culture change Alkaline in a different sense, where the fight and the hate, and as him singing him song, majority of him song, him always a burn out the hate and the fight where him a get. So one would feel like, say, yo, because he might get fight and hate and so forth, why he become and turn himself into aloof, meaning that him distant himself from people, him, you know, him give out that cold energy. So to say for Cliff Hughes saying that Alkaline giving off aloof energy or vibe, you know, me not get it. People just not understand, and that's what I'm gonna say. Cliff Hughes waited late last minute to do like a rundown to find out certain stuff about the artist, when he should have done all of that way before the interview or the day of the interview.
But, honeybee, I asked a man, where were you born? Where did you go to school? Who was your principal at school? How many subjects you got? Six?
He must say no member him subject them. I mean, I said, no, this is insane.
Well, let me tell you something. In all my nearly 40 years, I tried every trick in the book.
Cliff, me see I sweat out there. Me say, look,
I
look how
tried.
this man I do my uncle Cliff.
No. It was painful.
And I want you to know that
The mere
it's
fact
not
that
your
Cliff Hughes
fault.
waited
He was
last
giving
minute
nothing.
to find out
Because
stuff
you know,
about
people
the
be like,
artist
someone else
clearly
should have done the
shows that
interview.
he wasn't
just
prepared.
not
He was
talking.
unprepared for
He
the
was
interview.
answering to nothing.
No, if the artist never answer nothing, they're saying that Alkaline wasn't answering anything. Well, after watching the interview, the artist was answering most of the questions, you know. It's more like he might give one or two answers. It's just that he wasn't engaging. Because we can say, yeah, he wasn't that engaging because him not giving no bag of explanation. Him not delving into the questions them. Him not elaborate upon the questions them. But what I say is that when Cliff Hughes start ask the question them, it wasn't pertaining to the new rules or the him career mostly. It's just about who him grew up with and stuff like that after all those years of being in interviews, and now he's back into the interviews getting asked the same questions. So would I understand probably why him not answer some of my questions them, because some of the questions them is not really pertain to music or the show. And I felt like the whole interview was to promote his New Rules concert. But as some viewers and subscribers, me wouldn't know much for ask. Me wouldn't know much what went down between the interview with them, because it can be that two of them come together but for the interview, or this can also be like a planting or whatever. But me no know. Here's the thing, bro.
But,
Nobody knows what
Never heard
going in
that
Alkaline
before.
head. If
right. It's
Alkaline
funny,
go
but
through
we can
something,
only
nobody ever know,
speculate based on
because
what we got from him.
Alkaline's
He
life is
alone
private.
can
Him
answer to
keep
why
everything
he
about
did
himself
that.
private, and that's just him. If he want to keep himself private, so that's just him. But I feel like Cliff Hughes wasn't the right person for the job, because you guys saw that TVJ dropped a timeline with Alkaline's interview with ER from them time when him just a bus, and all of the interviews them on Alkaline, they were up top tier interviews, and he must speak fluently and he must articulate himself well. When we get to understand is that Alkaline probably got media training and decide say, yo, he must change how him approach interviews, because interviewers want for time up, want for twist up him words them for get certain kind of clickbait, so viewers can really tune in and bring up the video in the algorithm or the numbers. So I feel like Alkaline got some form of media training and know how to really, you know, give the media something not to run with, but still ending up running with something, as to say, saying little to nothing, and that Alkaline do. But in other words, I felt like Cliff Hughes wasn't the right person for the job, because Cliff Hughes asked some questions like to say Alkaline was a new artist on the scene. I understand that he was trying to introduce Alkaline to new audience, because you know Cliff Hughes has them politics type of person that we deal with the other, him not really deal with entertainment, which is why I said Cliff Hughes seemed like he was the wrong person for the job. But also he stated that Alkaline's team reached out to him because they wanted to talk about some serious things. But serious things, what I would say is that I think Alkaline and his team should have given Cliff Hughes some rundown or some updates on some of the topics that he should have asked them, because the topics that Cliff Hughes placed on the table asking Alkaline, it wasn't serious kind of topic. Them topic, they are some picnic topic, and bro, you can definitely see it in the whole interview, like Alkaline wasn't feeling the interview. But at the same time, he was answering questions. But I guess the way how the interview went left, I felt like that is why Alkaline kind of changed, because when the interview started off, it wasn't like, oh, everybody would have say it be. Like to say what Cliff Hughes would say it was painful or all that stuff. But when the interview had started, him asked him a few little questions, but from the interview started, him start ask some question, some basic question. And I'm like, bro, Alkaline career gone 10 years already, or 12 years in his career. It's not like the artist new to the music scene, or, you know, an introduction. So it's just crazy how some of the questions when Cliff Hughes asked, which is why I'm say Cliff Hughes wasn't the right person for the job. And a lot of people have said Cliff Hughes wasn't the right person. But the fact that he can come out now and say the interview was painful, I'm like, wow. But the whole interview are going and them a laugh, and after the interview finished, them a laugh and attack after the camera came off of them. So I don't understand why you would say no, that the interview was painful. And I'm like, wow, this is just crazy. But what people need to understand is, if an artist becomes introverted, you have to understand them. And then again, we can understand, say, yeah, if you're an introvert and you're not want to interview, it's hard for you. Or if you're an introvert and interview is not your thing anymore, then you just have to stay away from it or so forth. But what me I say is, bro, Cliff Hughes wasn't the right person for the job. And after watching the interview and watching what he must say in this clip here, I'm like, bro, Cliff Hughes either do a damage control for clear him name by the part where him say wasn't cartel locked up or isn't cartel locked up. But the fact that him can come out and do this is just crazy. This is showing me why the artists them really not like the interviews or stay away from interviews like Alkaline. Because watch this. Popcorn haven't done an interview in so long. You guys can remember that. You can recall that. So Popcorn, a long time him not the interview also. But You know it go already, man, people. Our vibes and inside with Nanda. Let me know when you think. As me said, Cliff Hughes wasn't the right person for the job. I'm out. You see me? Mad thing.